Hey everyone, how's it going? Pixels here, and today we are doing a little review for Killer Klowns from Outer Space. So I've had a good amount of time playing this game on two accounts. I've played on my Xbox and my PS5, and I can just kind of give some different experiences there. And I've been playing since before the early access, so I got access to the game from Ilphonic. They hooked me up with a bunch of codes for everyone to be able to play the game nice and early before even the early access days. So we did get to test out some features that aren't even in the game anymore. And, I just want to give you my overall thoughts because I keep getting people in my streams asking me if they should pick this game up. Is it fun? Is it better than, TCM? Is it better than DVD? I don't really want to be answering those type of questions where if it's better than another ASIM game, but I will compare it to some, price points of other ASIM games and how they feel compared to this game being at the same price as well, because I feel like that's only fair. And, maybe it's lead to the decision that you're picking it up. So I do have some notes put down here on my other monitor that I'm going to talk about. Like I said, I've been playing this game for about 12 days now. I'm not sure how many hours I've actually racked up on the game, but I am over level 50 on both of my accounts. I'm level 60 on Xbox, and I'm level 53 or 52 or something on my PS5 account. So I do have a lot of hours, and I've tested out a lot of stuff on both sides. And in terms of the optimization on the consoles, Xbox definitely feels a lot better than playing on the PS5. I don't know why, but on PlayStation, I've noticed there is a lot of frame drops in some situations, even when people are just being killed or cocooned, just the frames drop like crazy, even going in certain areas as well. I'm not sure what's going on there. On Xbox, it just doesn't seem to have that at all for all the hours that I've spent on Xbox. I never noticed really many frame drops, or if any at all. So optimization on the PlayStation could definitely be better. Obviously, I haven't played this game on PC, so I'm not sure how that runs, unfortunately. But if you're planning on picking this game up and you have both consoles, it might sway you more into the Xbox side of things. However, there is an issue with that, which we'll get into in a minute, and why you maybe want to avoid the Xbox side of things. But the first thing I want to talk about is what I enjoy about Killer Klowns, and what other people enjoy about Killer Klowns. In my Discord, I asked, give you, for those guys to give me their opinions on how they feel Killer Klowns plays out, and if they're enjoying it over other ASIM games. So the combat is really fun. So a lot of people have been talking about the combat being fun, and I feel like that's a really nice talking point to discuss with this game. So the combat was personally my favorite thing from Evil Dead the game, and combat ASIMs are always my favorite go-to ASIM type of experience. Playing Evolve, playing Evil Dead, playing this game, and even having a little bit of combat in TCM, despite it only being like the bone scraps. But you got that little combat element there that really leads to some fun. Obviously, Evil Dead was very combat orientated. I would say Killer Klowns is quite focused on the combat. It's not as fleshed out or as polished up as what Evil Dead was with the combat. However, it still offers like a kind of a vanilla type of combat system that you can enjoy in the game. And, you can sort of use some archetypes that will help you in the combat experience on both sides. That is, the combat on Clown and Human. They are kind of balanced, but again, there's more things we'll get into later in the discussion where, there's a lot of stuff that's just been left out of the game, which is really unfortunate, which would lead the combat to be a lot more fun and a lot more fleshed out for everybody and a lot more polished, hopefully. But whether we'll see that later on down the line, who knows? But for me right now, the combat is pretty fun. I would like to see a bit more weapons and stuff added to the game, though. Gameplay on both sides doesn't feel repetitive as well. That's also a good thing. A lot of these ASIM games and most games out there are always going to be repetitive. But while you're playing this game, you don't really get into the mindset of like, oh man, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. Sure, as Clown, it might get a little bit repetitive, but you can change your play style up. You can decide if you just want to, cocoon everything in the game and cottonize everything in the game, and putting the cocoons on the generators and spawning the AI and spawning the lackeys. Or you can go and play a hunter type of Clown where you want to just focus on killing the humans. That's totally fine. There's ways to change up your gameplay there, which is very unique in an ASIM experience. And, looking at other ASIM games, they don't really offer that sometimes. And then you go back to a human side of things, and again, it's so RNG focused where maybe you won't get this certain item, or maybe you get that item for this escape that you're going to have to play for, so it kind of forces you into that direction on the map. And that's also another good thing about the game, is that it has 5 maps. That's actually a really big win for a game like this, because having 5 maps at launch is like crazy. Previous ASIM games have only launched with 3 or 2 maps, and This game's come out, it's got 5 maps with different times of day on them as well, so it doesn't always feel samey, like each game that you hop in there, and also having the different archetypes you can swap between too. Kind of leads to that, and with just having a ton of customization. The customization is fantastic in this game, and being able to chop and change your character and cosplay certain characters from other games and other franchises in the game. Right now I'm running Kelly from Evil Dead, and it looks so accurate to her. And on my Xbox account I've got I've made Steve Harrington from Stranger Things, so you can definitely mess around there and kind of create your own experience or your own fantasy in this game of who you want to role play as, which again doesn't really come from other ASIM games, and this game offers that, which is a very nice thing. The time to play is very nice as well, and what I mean by that is the matches are not too long and they're not too short. They're 15 minutes. I feel like that's a nice point. It also can be sped up a little bit with the clown apocalypse happening a lot sooner with the cocoons on the generators there. The problem is I feel like there's not enough clowns actually having that incentive to go and do the cocoon stuff, which we'll get into later on. But overall, I feel like the time to play is fantastic, and the time to wait to play is fantastic as well, where you're just like, all right, next game, next game, next game. It doesn't matter if you're with the same people in the same lobby all the time. You will get fed up eventually playing against the same people, in which case they've all taken turns playing clowns and playing humans, and then you'd be like, all right, I'm done with this lobby, I'm going to back out, I'm going to change my character or my loadout out a little bit, and then you're going to jump back into another game, and the queue time seems really fast, and then you can just keep rotating between the same lobby and the same maps, and it's doing all that. It's just time to play and time to wait is very good right now for this game. It's not like TCM, where you're in the fucking queue forever, then the game lasts only a minute long. It's not like that for this game. Games seem to like happen really fast, which is a good thing. The XP gains as well, for the amount of time and how quick the games play out, you're actually gaining a lot of XP as well, and it feels like everything you're doing is worthwhile. Doesn't matter if you're dead and you're doing the mini games and you're gifting items, you'll get XP for that. You can also back out of the game. Every XP that you earn is earned in real time, so it doesn't matter if you leave. It is sort of like a visual bug though. You won't be displayed that you've actually leveled up until you restart the game, or if the match is still going on on that side, on the server side, you will eventually see the XP gains from that match once it does end, but you're no longer in it. So that's a good thing as well. And I really like the XP gains in this game. It doesn't feel like a grueling task. It definitely respects your time that you're putting into it, so that's always a big win. And I feel like a lot of people don't focus on that side of things with these ASIM games, or I feel like it's a very important factor to talk about is player retention, and I say it all the time. It's very important to have player retention in your game, and this game has it. TCM did not fucking have player retention, and other games didn't have it as well. And Evil Dead did respect your time a little bit, but it was way too grueling to level up in, and I feel like this is in a good spot. Maybe you do level up a little bit too fast, but it definitely feels like it does respect your time, which is a really nice thing there. I said the customization is fantastic. I've already talked about that. The challenges are great as well. I really enjoy the challenges. The challenges, unfortunately, are, well, they were bugged. I do believe they are fixed now with the recent patch. So some challenges wouldn't unlock, or you wouldn't gain progress on those challenges, which was unfortunate. So they did reset the challenges that you haven't complete, but even if you did have some progress towards completing those challenges, that all got reset in order for them to fix the bug there, which was unfortunate, but I suppose it gives us time to grind it up again. But the challenges you did complete didn't get reset there, so they will stay completed, which is a good thing. But it is a nice little thing to have on the side of the game. Again, player retention, it's just so important, and having those challenges there is a great idea. In terms of just unlocking cosmetics, people love to unlock cosmetics in these games. They like to mix and match and create their own character. It's a big thing on Dead by Daylight, and having it in this game is probably one of the best decisions they could have made. And the really good thing about this is IllFonic want to listen to all this criticism and feedback. As long as you go about it in a professional manner, I don't feel like it's fair to really, go out and name call any development team or people who are working hard on this game. But to have some constructive criticism there is a very vital thing, and I feel like IllFonic will listen to everyone. Right now, they have done a dev stream yesterday. Unfortunately, I missed it because, I was streaming myself and I was doing a bunch of other things. But they did have a developer stream yesterday. I don't know if they talked about anything important on there. I might have to go back and watch that. But that's a good thing about them, is they stay kind of, in the loop with the community there. The silence right now, though, is kind of I'm going to get into the bad stuff in a minute. I've got one more thing I want to talk about. What I enjoy about Killer Klowns is, the cosmetics that just came out. So the cosmetics came out on day one. Actually look really good. So I believe one of them is a Savini, a Tom Savini outfit, which I think looks really nice for the clowns. And also we got a human outfit as well, and they weren't overpriced. And you got to worry sometimes with these games, they overprice for cosmetics, but you get a lot of cosmetics on the human as well for like £5 it was for me. And then on the clown side, you get that one cosmetic and you're paying like £4 for that, and it looks fantastic as well. There's definitely no overcharging for cosmetics in this game, which is a very nice thing. And I was kind of worried that we weren't going to see a lot of cosmetics that were buyable in the Xbox store. But the good thing is, even if you buy these cosmetics, like I don't know, for the clown it might override the whole outfit, I haven't checked it yet, but on the human side at least, you can mix and match those outfits that you bought as well, which is fantastic, like I said. And this is something that we need to see more of in these games, where you can mix and match outfits and create your own unique experience there. That's always a good thing. And just overall, the game is fun. Like, for the good side of things, the game is a lot of fun. It takes a little bit of learning. Don't get too frustrated when you're first picking this game up and you're getting stomped on either side, and you're like, oh man, now I've got to wait like 45 seconds to respawn as a clown because this one person just stabbed me in the nose or something. Like, don't get frustrated like that. It's all just learning. It's all experience in these ASIM games. And yeah, solo queue will be rough no matter what game you're playing as well. So don't let that factor into you either. For my just me solo queuing and playing with people as well, most of my games have felt relatively balanced. Sometimes I do feel a bit too strong playing human as well, which we'll get into. But for all the good things in the game, like, it's worth talking about that, and how well the game feels to play and how fun it is. And the weird thing is, with me playing this game, I haven't really been overly negative about it, because it's got its problems. It's a bit difficult for me though, because they went out their way and kind of hooked me up with a code and everything. I was just totally not expecting it, and I'm still going to give an honest opinion on the game. It's just I'm not going to be nasty about it like I have been previously in other games. So let's move into the bad stuff. So that's all the good stuff. There's probably more, but when you're trying to look for the good stuff in the game, when you're kind of enjoying a game experience, you're trying to pick these points out. Like what's making you enjoy the game a lot, and sometimes you can't even put your finger on it. And with it being set in the 80s, it's a horror game set in the 80s, a horror parody, I would suppose you'd call a horror comedy type of experience. If you've seen the movie, by the way, it is definitely really good homage to the movie, and you would enjoy it just for being part of the Killer Klowns franchise there, and how well they adapt the movie into the game is, it's very well done, honestly. But it's not without its flaws, and let's talk about that. So as of making this right now, there's still no day one patch on Xbox. This is the second day of the game being out for full release, and the Xbox still doesn't have its update there. And this is where things start spiraling, and where you start getting a really negative mindset about this game. It's again another game coming out unfinished. Let's just lay it out there right now. It is an unfinished game, and I'm kind of it's getting to the point where you get a bit fed up with this. All these games like TCM coming out unfinished. Fucking Payday 3 coming out unfinished. That doesn't matter. There's genres everywhere with games that are just coming out unfinished, charging, whatever price point that would be, the popular price point in that franchise, for example. So, like TCM was $40, this game's $40, Evil Dead was $40, and most of them come out of just, completely unfinished, and definitely needed more time to put out there. And sometimes you can't be a bit too critical for the the price compared to other games coming out like Suicide Squad that was like $100, and that game's a fucking mess and nobody plays that anymore. And biggest regret of my gaming career was buying that piece of shit of a game. But I'm for this game, I didn't pay for it, obviously. Like I said, I got a code So I don't know. It's kind of hard to put into my mind if I would be annoyed or not if I spent money or paid money for this game and being like, man, like I'm loading this up and it doesn't have this. Xbox doesn't even have the day one update yet, so we're all just kind of stuck on the Xbox platform. We can't play cross-play friends or anything, and this is why it's leading to me believe this game was, it could have used maybe even a whole other year of development. And as game development works, the money's gonna run out sometime, and it feels like they definitely try to push this out as fast as they could, because it's been, this game got announced like what, 2.5 years ago or something like that, and it's been, floating around here and there. We didn't hear too much about it, and when you started hearing more and more about this game, the closer it got to launch, like it was so silent for so long. A few people played this game at PAX, and then it went really quiet. And most of the video discussions about this game was like very minute snippets of what they had to pull from, of like, oh man, there's like card systems on humans, I wonder how that works. And like nobody knew how a game actually played out in this until the devs finally did a developer stream. And then about like a week later or 2 weeks later, I was actually able to play the game myself, in the pre-release and before the early access times, which was very nice. And there was a bunch of us playing in there. So to have that experience of being able to play the game that early, I was like, all right, okay. So this has kind of swayed me. This has changed my mind, because I thought the game was going to be total just cash grab, beta. I mean, I suppose it is sort of like a beta still, but you know what I mean? Like, I felt like it was just going to be so undercooked and so janky to the point where it was unplayable. But being able to actually play the game, see the visuals, see how some of the stuff can be quite fluid while you're doing it as well. I can see there's been a lot of passion and attempt to make a really good game here put into there, and I can respect that. And depending on how fast they get the updates out, it could be in a really good spot in a few weeks. But like I said, the big problem right now is the timing of everything. I feel like timing with these games can be a real, life or death of the game situation. If you're not timing it so the Xbox gets its update at the same time as everything else, or, even PlayStation doesn't get the update at the same time as everyone else, people are going to start getting pissed off. It will just happen. It's happened on previous ASIM games. I've fucking hours and hours on Evil Dead. It happened so many times with the PlayStation side of things. Xbox even had to go a whole week, or maybe was it a week or 2 weeks? It might have been 10 days, roughly about that, before we got the balance patch for animation canceling. So Xbox was just suffering with that. People are abusing animation canceling, and people were just getting pissed off and, stop playing the game. Same thing happened on TCM. They dropped out a new content, and they dropped some, I think it was some new cosmetics, or they dropped a new family member or something. Like, PlayStation couldn't play it until the next day. Again, it's very unfortunate. It might be something out of their control, but maybe you need to prepare for that to happen a bit better, and hopefully they can do that. Xbox has this stupid certification system with their updates. That's, approval process. That's what's happening with the update right now. It's still in the approval state on Xbox, so we're still just waiting for Xbox to go, okay, put it on the game. I think Microsoft need to dial that back a little bit and try to get games in a healthy state. Because if you look at, and we're just going to branch off real quick here, if you look at games like Helldivers on PlayStation, that game gets updated so fast because it's only on PlayStation and PC. It doesn't have to go through this grueling certification process. So hopefully that, Microsoft kind of picked that up there. So it's like I said, it can be out of their control, but at the same time, they need to better prepare themselves to get the updates out on time across all platforms. If other games can do it, I'm not going to start going up to the AAA titles and stuff, but, there is other games out there, like even Payday and a bunch of other games that can get the updates out to everyone at the same time. And, give or take a couple of hours, Killer Klowns definitely needs to be working towards to do that, or Ilphonic needs to be working towards to do that, or TerraVision, whoever does submit these updates. You need to be bearing in mind that, Xbox is going to take a little bit longer, so you're going to have to submit it a lot earlier than you can. instead of, you know, pushing out a day one patch and people are waiting for their crossplay and stuff still not in the game, which is a huge disappointment. It kind of annoyed me because I was going to stream today and I was like, all right, I want to play on my Xbox account now because I'm kind of getting fed up with playing on my PlayStation one, because I don't play a lot of PlayStation. You know, I just want to play on my main account, and you know, I've just bought the cosmetics and stuff on Xbox, but yeah, I can play the game, but it's only with Xbox people, and I'm like still just waiting for that patch, and I'm like, come on, man, what, like, I hate seeing these mistakes being made, and it bothers me because it does end up, you know, it can be one of the nails going into the coffin of an ASIM game, because these games don't get a lot of time to shine, and you know, they've got to be really fast on how they're gonna, you know, draw in people and keep people playing the game. They need to be quicker with that, and they need to be better with it on their launches. And it feels like now it's a very, like, the genre needs to flourish. Okay, it needs to flourish more. You know, these games are really fun, they're really enjoyable, and they bring a lot of people together from such a niche genre of horror. They bring loads of people together, and you know, we need these games to shine. We need to be able to hop between TCM, Dead by Daylight, Killer Klowns, Evil Dead, you know, just hopping between all these games. You know, oh, Killer Klowns is getting this new update, I'm going to play that for a bit. Oh, right, TCM's getting this new update, I'm going to play that for a bit. Like, we need to be able to do that. So to have them all kind of cohesively in the genre, it can be a very healthy thing there, because we don't want to just focus on that one game all the time. Like, it's incredibly boring just playing the one game all the time. We need that variety. Then variety is the spice of life, and you know, this is why I always try and push these games to be better than what they can be, and you know, make sure these mistakes aren't happening. And it gets to the point where I'm so frustrated as a content creator, because you know, I want to cover these games, I want to support them, I want to, you know, kind of have the game hand in hand, help my channel out and me helping the game out, you know. And just seeing this mistake happen again, it's so frustrating. And you know, we're going to talk about a few more bad things now in the game. And the developers sent me an email out to a bunch of a media review people saying that they removed the perk system from the game, and I was hugely disappointed on that. Hugely. You know, I you know me, I love to do my build videos and, you know, talking about new perks and old perks getting removed and, you know, all that type of stuff. I love dissecting all these things in games, and sometimes, you know, it's like you gotta paint a picture in your head. How did the developers see this game and how they wanted it to play out? It does seem like Ilphonic took over, kind of stamped their authority on it and went, no, you can't be doing this, we need to be doing this because of the time frame of the game, and you know, your scheduling, your budget, like, we need to get this game out as soon as possible. This is what it feels like to me, at least. That's how I'm painting the picture in my head for this. Despite the game being really fun and I'm enjoying it, I'll still continue to play it and still continue to stream it. Like, I'm just obviously gonna be pointing out the flaws and how they can better improve the game here. So don't take everything I'm saying too critical. Don't take it personally or anything, and you know, don't be so like reading into things about me saying I'm complaining all the time about games, because you know, at the end of the day, if things don't get said, nothing's gonna get done about it. And I feel like saying these things is very healthy. Like, this having no perk system is a huge letdown, honestly. It kind of takes away the uniqueness of your character, and it's like Ilphonic just wanted to have this game looking very vanilla in terms of these archetypes. Sure, the less you have in the game, the easier it is to balance, but the game is still sort of unbalanced, and you know, obviously balances things are gonna, you know, happen over time, and the game's only been out for a short amount of time as well, but you still got to ask yourself, you know, why was there no beta? Where was there no play testing, really, in terms of, you know, balancing things up? Obviously, this patch has been in the works for a while that they did drop on the day one, and a lot of the stuff that we have talked about that was, you know, too strong has been nerfed, and, you know, things that were too weak have been buffed up, which is really nice to see that they've dropped that. However, when you've got such a vanilla game, I'm expecting the balancing to be, you know, on point. Okay, when you've got you've only got, like, you know, 4 or 5 clown types, 4 or 5 archetypes on the human side of things. When you've got such a flat vanilla baseline of what you can do in this game, the balancing should not even be in question. That's what I'm thinking here. Like, they will always have sort of stronger stuff, but not to the point where things are like ridiculously thrown out of proportion. Like we did go through with this last week with the bounce caster and the popcorn launcher being way too strong and a bunch of other things. And there's still stuff still too strong in the game that a lot of people have complained about. Which I feel like just needed a little tweak, and I feel like, you know, everything would be in a good spot. So the fact is that this was just such a vanilla system, and they chose to remove the perk system because that threw it out of balance, and got me kind of worried, like, all right, are you guys gonna struggle to put new things into the game here in case, you know, it's gonna throw the balance out of whack? Because I feel like you're gonna need a bit more play testing going on with before you add anything into the game. I feel like this game still needs a perk system. Like I said, it's gonna get to the point like this. It's this. This is the weird thing. So this game is really fun to play. Like I keep saying, it's a great experience. How long is that gonna last though? You know, in terms of how vanilla it is. It does have it takes away some of the repetitiveness, but you know, once we get to like level 100, once we get a level 150, and you know, we've got all the cosmetics unlocked and stuff. Obviously, they're going to be adding more cosmetics and stuff to the game, but once you get to a certain playtime, you're gonna maybe get to the point where you're like, okay, like I'm sort of done with this game, because it's just that there's no unique factor there. There's always been something missing from this game, and I've never been able to put my finger on it, but I believe it's the perks, like just lack of perks in the game. Like if it had perks, I feel like it would make everything that you do feel so much more special. And you know, seeing like, oh man, all right, I'm not saying go crazy with the perks, of course, you know, just having like ammo finder perk, so just a little bit of increased weapon durability, or your weapon had like, you could have a card system where your weapon has just a less chance to break on the final hit or something like that, so you get an extra hit on it. You know, doing stuff like that. You don't have to go too crazy with it. I don't feel like it was a good decision to remove the perk system. I feel like it was, I'm not saying name calling things, but I feel like it was more of a time crunching decision instead of actually putting it into the game. And I'm really disappointed it's not there. I really am. I feel like you guys would be very disappointed there's no perk system. I've seen a lot of complaints that there's no perk system in there. I think Ilphonic need to go back to the drawing board with that and be like, okay, we need to get the perk system in there. I do like the archetypes, however. I think the archetypes is good. It's just there's no display of what they actually benefit, really. Like, they do tell you, like, and the archetypes are bugged right now as well. So the resourceful one on human is meant to do the spark plugs quicker, but they all installed spark plugs in 10 seconds. The same thing goes for the heroic one. You're meant to have a more accurate reticle for shooting the handguns and the shotguns, but that's also not true. Like, that's not happening right now. So even in the vanilla state that they're in, they're bugged. And I feel like even if they did have the perk system in place, I wonder how much of a mess that would have been. So that's kind of terrifying to think about. Just to have this vanilla situation we're in right now kind of thrown out of balance and bugged up, how the perk system would look and how that would kind of fuck the game up even more. So if it's something that's going to come out later down the line when it's more polished, I'll be happy. And I feel like that's something they really need to focus on. But I'm very disappointed that there was no perk system in general. And yeah, you're going to get to my overall thought at the end of this discussion podcast here, what I'm going to be like, okay, yeah, maybe this should have happened. But anyways, the next thing is the no preference choice. So again, with a day one patch, they did promise us that they were going to add preference choice, and we still aren't seeing it anywhere. Again, role queuing and stuff, I think, is very important. I feel like this game would have benefited from role queuing. It doesn't bother me too much, like if I get thrown on the clown or the human, but I feel like that goes for a lot of people. And yeah, you're going to be swayed to play one side over the other. And, you know, even as content from my content creator standpoint, like, you know, maybe I want to record gameplay for playing clown, but I'm going to be spending a long time just sitting on the human side of things, which can get quite annoying. I haven't ran into that situation yet, but I will eventually when I want to start doing videos like that. The problem is, it's just no role queuing. There's no preference queuing yet, and like the game's out. You know, it's at full launch now. This is something that was kind of promised to us. I don't know, like a month or two ago, and it's still not there, which is kind of worrying to me, and it's a bit sad to see that because again, it's just another mistake that they've made there by not having that implemented. And you know, I don't like to shine thing like onto the negative light of things, but you know, having people saying that they're refunding the game already in my comment sections is kind of a letdown from my perspective, because I was like, well, I thought this game had a chance, and you know, seeing people that are already refunding the game, I feel like it's a bit disappointing for me, and it should definitely be disappointing for the developers. And you know, learning that, I think, you know, you got to look at, you know, what caused that to happen. And you know, it's again, no perk system, no preference choice. These are the things that's led to people actually refunding the game. And again, this, you need to be pointing out these mistakes and what they can do better in the future. And you know, moving on to that, there's not enough loadouts to make, and there's pointless clown types in the game now. So we have the tank clown, doesn't have any tricks for himself. Maybe the invisible car, I guess you could say, is part of the tank clown. But we also have the trapper clown there, and they've removed the baby clown traps out of the game. I got a chance to use them. They were okay. I don't know why they decided that they said that it was throwing the balance out way too much, because when we used the clown traps, I wouldn't say they were too strong. So there was one or two games I played where people were kind of putting the clown traps around the resurrection machine so we couldn't get the other humans back into the game. I did feel like that was a problem, but with the amount of objectives in the game and how the game has been released to the public and how fast some people are escaping and, you know, a bunch of other stuff happening, the problem is the clown traps didn't come into play until later on in the game and anyway, so I don't know why they removed them. Like, it's kind of a weird decision in my opinion. I don't think they were strong. Like I said, they didn't really get activated until on the 10-minute mark, I would say, on the game. Like, they had a long cooldown, and there was games where I was using the clown traps where I just, you know, it got so late into the game where I didn't even have time to go and put them down. So I really don't know why they got thrown out there, and now we just have these pointless clown types. And like I said, it's just not enough loadout options on the clown side of things. We definitely need more weapons. We definitely need more, you know, different types of the benefits of that playing that clown type as well. There's just not enough there. Again, it's just not fleshed out. And like I said, we go back to painting the picture in the developer's head here, how they're how they are perceiving this game and how they want to push it out to us. Maybe they just have a completely different game in mind to what we want. And you know, I suppose that's fine. You know, you got to stand by your decisions. You got to stand by your morals. And if they want to have this game in such a vanilla state where, you know, it's not a, I'm not saying a serious game, but, you know, maybe it's just a party game that you're hopping on and just playing a few hours with a bunch of friends, that's totally fine if that's what they want to do. I just don't know if that's a good decision for the majority of most ASIM players, because I feel like those guys will feel pushed away from the game to where they aren't having that type of unique feel and how they can create their character in builds to where you can do that in other ASIM games. I suppose it's the best way of putting it, and it's fine if that's how they want to put the game out there. Then, you know, the player base will always speak for itself and how popular the game will be and how it's going to play out overall and how much longevity the game's going to have. But in my opinion, that's all I can give you is my opinion. It needs to have a perk system. It need to have more loadouts for the clowns, and you need to get rid of these like archetypes and stuff, or flesh it out a bit more. Give the archetypes a bit more uniqueness to them as well. Like, give them an item to spawn with or something along those lines. Like, something like that needs to happen. You can't keep this game in the state it's in with both sides right now and expect it to have a long-term success, because it just won't work. Like, you need to flesh the game out a little bit more and to have people feeling a lot more unique playing it. So the next one I have is not enough incentive for clowns to cocoon people in terms of XP and the lackeys and stuff. So one of the balancing talks here is, you know, the clowntality. So the spawns right now are totally fucked in the game. Let's be honest. The spawns are really bad. There's people literally spawning in next to like 2 clowns. That's been happening to me a lot lately. I've had to run away from 2 clowns or try to get away. And the problem is if you get downed quick at the start of the game, like, you are out of it. And yeah, there is a resurrection machine to bring you back, which I suppose can kind of smoothen out the whole clowntality at the start of the game. However, I don't feel like you should be able to get killed that quick in any game, despite there being a resurrection machine or not. Look at the big picture here throughout the entire game. You know, if you're killed at the start of the game, you're just sitting there playing mini games, or you've left, and you know, that's it. And then you're going to play another game. It's just it just feels cheap. You know, nobody wants to spawn into any game and die in the first minute because of something that's totally out of your control. You know, just getting clowntality at the start of the game, and now I've just got to spectate people who may or may not resurrect me back into the map. And it just kind of leaves you like thinking, oh man, well, why am I playing right now? Well, I'm playing the mini games more than I'm playing the actual game. And I don't want to be that guy being like, oh man, this thing's too overpowered or something. But, you know, Killer Klowns, in terms of the clowntalities, I feel like they should be unlocked later on into the game. You know, like the abilities are, you know, it gets to a certain point in the game, like, right, now we can do clowntalities and kill people out of the game. The problem is, I'm trying to say from both sides here, because there is the resurrection machine in there. So you don't want to make it so clowntalities are pointless. You kind of need to have them in a good spot to where they really matter the most. And I feel like when they matter the most is when people are already dead. You know, I feel like getting hit with that second clowntality after, you know, you've been dead once, you've been resurrected. I feel like that's when they're most important. Killing people with cocoons should be a priority early game, and then late game clowntality should come into play. So working around that method would be much better for the game balance. And because, again, I'm just relaying a lot of people's feedback. This isn't just mine as well. There's a lot of people who have spent the same amount of time as me playing the game, and they all say the same thing about the clowntalities and the spawns at the start of the game. You know, there's an issue, without a doubt. Even when I'm playing clown and I'm spawned next to someone, I feel really fucking bad. Like, I feel like giving them a fighting chance and letting them go into a building and get some loot first before, you know, I start attacking them or something. You know, you shouldn't really get like that. And trying not to see it at a competitive standpoint, it's more of people trying to give people fun, you know, giving people a fun experience. And, you know, dudes, having a mechanic in the game like that where you can die in the first minute in any game, people aren't going to have fun. And, you know, look at TCM and how many people's left that game because of people dying so quick at the start of the game as well. It's not so bad in Killer Klowns because you got the chance to come back, you got the mini games to keep you occupied, I guess. And it doesn't take long again in another game, but, you know, it is still an issue that needs to be addressed, honestly. The next thing is, you know, just not enough incentive to cocoon people. So obviously the clowntalities we talked about, but there needs to be a little bit more incentive to cocoon humans. Obviously you do get a lot more XP, but, you know, it's not a massive amount more, and you get a little bit more benefit where, you know, it starts the clown apocalypse earlier, and it also gets your abilities triggered a lot faster. I think it should get the abilities triggered much faster than what it does. Right now, you hook a cocoon and it's like -5 seconds. It should be like -10 seconds or something. Like you kind of want to make the gameplay out a little bit faster as you're playing clown, and, you know, get things going a lot quicker. So the cocoons definitely need to give you a bit more incentive in doing that. I feel like there should be like some little temp buffs as well. Whereas if you cocoon a human, you should get like a little temporary buff, you know, just for like 12 seconds or something. You get a little speed boost or whatever that would be. Like, I feel like just a little random buff when you do cocoon a human, just to give people a bit more incentive to actually cocoon them and give humans a bit more of a chance that way as well. But yeah, that's something that needs looked at, definitely. The next thing I have is bugs, like the hitboxes on down clowns and items being bugged and stuff. So there's a lot of bugs in the game, which leads it to again, me believing it's in such an unfinished state. You know, so you got the hitboxes on the clown, so you down a clown and you're trying to stab him with a knife or an axe or something. I've noticed the axe, when you're standing up, you can't kill the short clown when you knock them down. You've got to crouch and hit them, which again is kind of janky. But even the bigger clowns, when you go to stab them, sometimes you've got to walk behind them and stab them in order for it to bust their nose open. So the hitboxes on the down clowns definitely need looking at. The time they get up as well, there's actually... They need to add an input limit on mashing to get up as a clown as well, because I've seen people, I wouldn't say cheating, but there is definitely people using, you know, turbo controllers and, you know, binding their getting up prompt to their mouse scroll wheel so they can just, you know, scroll wheel with their mouse and they're instantly getting up. And you know, it's kind of leaving that window of trying to kill a clown very minute when they've already got a broken hitbox. I wouldn't see a problem with it if, you know, it was so reliable to where you down a clown, you instantly killing them with a sharp object, but it's really not reliable right now. So, you know, sometimes it takes like 3 or 4 stabs before it actually triggers. By that time, somebody's already scroll wheeled with their mouse and they've instantly gotten up. You know, it's like something that just needs polished up again. It's something undercooked in the game and needs looking at, definitely. And items being bugged. So this is again, this has been an issue I've been relaying to the development team in the Discord that we're in, and a bunch of other content creators have as well. You know, just items being bugged in certain spots. If you've noticed, like, for example, in the bar, if you go to the snooker table, you can't pick up the item on the snooker table. There's I think it's on Crescent Grove. If you go to like where there's like a fountain area, there's always something that spawns on the floor in front of the fountain that you can't ever really pick up unless it's like a gas can or something. You can't pick up if it's a knife, an axe, or, you know, just a weapon in general. You can't pick it up. And you know, there's like a bridge on top of the mountain as well that you're walking across. There'll be a knife that spawns there on the floor all the time. You can't pick that up either. So there's a lot of items on the game that just, you know, I don't know if it's like a collision bug or something. They definitely need to look into that and being able to pick up certain items, which can lead to a bit of frustration there. The next thing I have is unfinished animations and just leading into the jank, like the overall jank feel of this game. So it's a very popular term that we've been using for this game, is how like it's fun functional jank, I think, is what we were all saying in the streams lately. And look, okay, so there's moments in the game where it does feel polished, okay? There's moments where you're picking things up and, you know, you have that kind of fluidity of, you know, everything you're doing feels responsive to the button you're pressing, which is always very nice feeling in a game, because TCM doesn't have that, by the way. Killer Klowns has it way more, where everything just kind of feels more responsive, so you can counteract the jank that's going on. But for example, the animations going through the windows are totally unfinished. If you've noticed, you'll start climbing into the window and you just phase through to the other side. If you go back to Friday the 13th, I was watching somebody play Friday the 13th recently, and they climbing into the window, and I was like, the animation is actually, like, this is the same company from years ago on Friday the 13th, and the animation is so spot on, like just climbing in and out of a window. But in this game, it feels like so unfinished and just undercooked. You know, when the clowns like snap their fingers for hiding spots, and then all of a sudden like the humans just teleported out of there, it just again leads to more jank to it. I wouldn't really say many other animations are like really janky. I think the stance of the humans and stuff, if you're, you know, just to be a little bit of a nitpick here, because that's what I am, that's what I specialize in. If you if you look at the human stances when you're customizing them, they all look like they've got a fucking bad back. They all look like me, and it's terrifying. They don't look real. They don't. But I believe somebody said that this game didn't have any motion capture, which, to be honest, I can kind of see that. It feels like everything that they've done has been done on a computer here and done by hand rather than having any motion capture, which I don't know. They've done a good job with it being like that, but I feel like they definitely need to, you know, maybe work on getting some motion capture into the game if they haven't already, just to smoothen up those animations. Again, motion capture and stuff probably takes a lot of time, and maybe they were just, you know, on a time crunch. Like they had a schedule and they needed to get the game out, which is probably a bad decision, I would say. So for the last bad thing that I have, is the sprinting. Again, it just kind of falls into the jank feel of this game. Sprinting on both sides feels so kind of unresponsive. Like, you're clicking in your analog stick a bunch of times and you're like, come on, clown, move. What the fuck's going on? You're carrying the gas can as human. You're like, man, I want to fucking move. Like, I want to sprint. And you're just spamming the analog stick over and over again, and it's just not happening. You're like, what the hell's going on, man? So that happens a lot. And again, it's just another thing that needs smoothing out. And a lot of people will be thinking, man, you're sitting here hating on the game and stuff. I just want to say one thing is, you know, this game's just come out and it's 2024, and I don't think most of the stuff I've mentioned should be happening in any video game coming out. Despite who it's coming from, where it's coming from, I don't care. If it's you know, if it's a $40 priced game, I'm expecting all this stuff that I've mentioned to be smoothed out before the game comes out. Okay, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here, where they just were running out of money and they needed to get the game out in time to where they can fix these things in a later date. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt on that, but I'm still going to say that this stuff should have been in the game and polished up before it come out. And for one more thing on the balancing side, okay, is the energy drinks. And the energy drinks are a huge problem in the game right now, and that is the next thing they need to nerf. Energy drinks are such a big problem. It's because they're so plentiful. You know, there's so many of them on the map. You can get gifted energy drinks from people spectating you as well, to where you can just infinitely run around. I've seen it multiple times. I've done it myself, where I'm running around and people are feeding me energy drinks. I'm just running around the map for fun, and then I just get out through the ice cream truck, and it's a problem. That's something that you can't ignore, and something that definitely required further playtest in there. But anyways, overall, I'm just gonna give you my, my overall thoughts to end this discussion out, because, I don't want to get this too long. I've been talking for about 46 minutes now. It is a podcast. I feel like it's not one of my usual ones, and I do apologize where I am stuttering a little bit. I'm kind of thinking of things to say, to where I'm not. The reason I'm doing that is I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to piss people off, and maybe I've already pissed people off. I'm just trying to give you my experience there, and sometimes it's hard to put it into words and to get across without sounding like a total dick. So that's why I am pausing and stuff before I'm making some statements, because I just don't want to, upset the developers. I don't want to upset anybody. I just, it's very difficult to try and get your thoughts across without people getting pissed off at you. But anyways, I'm going to give you my overall thoughts on the game. Right now, I do not recommend picking this up. Just because, I suppose you could if you just want to have a fun time. But if you're really serious about ASM games, don't pick this game up yet. Wait a bit. Wait for a few updates. Maybe pick it up then. Right now, especially on Xbox, don't be picking it up, because it still doesn't even have its day 1 patch. And we're on day 2 right now. We're still waiting for the patch for that. And I don't want to push anybody away from the game either, but I'm just going to say it outright. For the lack of stuff that's in the game right now and things that need polishing up, it's not really in the best state to pick it up right now. I believe this game really needed, I don't know, another 6 months, I want to say. And I say that about most of these games. It's just because the game didn't even come out with crossplay, okay? You went in early access, you didn't even have full crossplay. Now you've got to link your Epic Games account to do crossplay, and I still can't do crossplay on my Xbox yet, even though the game is fully out for everybody. And if I paid money on Xbox for this game, I paid for the Jokes edition, which I nearly did, by the way. I managed to get a refund, but, like I said, it was very nice of them to hook me up with a code, so I didn't have to really experience this. But if I did pay money for this game on Xbox, and that was my only means to play the game, I'd have been really fucking pissed off. I'd be like, okay, so I don't have my day 1 patch. I can't invite anybody from other platforms to play the game, despite being promised crossplay and full crossplay at launch. Whether it be out of their hands or not, I don't think that's an excuse. It should have been already in the game fucking 2 or 3 weeks ago. Why they have it on this time scale is beyond me. I don't know if they got a contract with Epic Games for them to purchase and use their crossplay system, and they decided, okay, we want it to start on this date, so they didn't have to pay for it a few weeks before launch. I don't know. It's just to me, budgeting and stuff. You know, I'm just kind of theorizing here with a fucking tinfoil hat on, but you can only say what you see and what's happened. And you know, seeing this game and the way it's in right now, I just feel like the budget was running low and they needed to get the game out, and that's how it just perceives to me, and how some things are just done on the cheap again, and not having these basic systems and standard systems in place before the game comes out, like with other ASIM games. But anyways, overall, like I said, I wouldn't really pick this game up right now, and I would just wait a few weeks or so until it's in a really good spot with some polished animations and stuff, maybe even a couple of months. And the good thing is, we are going to be getting a roadmap soon. They did tell me that they are releasing a roadmap post-launch, so hopefully we get to see that roadmap soon and get us all hyped up for the future content. I'm still going to be playing the game. I'm still going to be streaming it. I'm still going to be doing content for it. But, you know, for all the people out there who, you know, maybe he's on the fence with this game and you're watching this, maybe he's waiting to pick it up. That's all I've got to say to you guys. You're just waiting for those rough edges to be smoothened out. That's all it is. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments you want to be making about this, and if you have anything to add about the game, and you know, if you've been enjoying it or not, feel free to leave them down below. Please refrain from saying anything nasty to me or towards anybody else if they have any problems with the balancing of the game. You know, I don't, my comment section can turn into a fucking Reddit thread sometimes, and I'm just like, guys, please just be civil and keep it calm, okay? But if you'd like to see more videos like this, if you want to see more Killer Klowns content on this channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button on this video as well. And thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Pixels, and my awesome viewers. I'll catch you guys in the next one.